Is it okay to present you now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
brother. Okay.
All right. So hopefully everyone, yeah, this well with everything, especially with assignment and with your family, and hopefully everything goes well. So today it's really great opportunity for me to share with you my topic. Um, Actually, before starting the topic, a very interesting topic, I would say. So I would like you to watch a videos. Actually, this video is not for a talking part. And also at the end of the topic, I would also play the video because I just want you to differentiate when you watch a video the first time, how might you understand on that. Then maybe at the end of my presentation, I would play it at the same time, and maybe I just want to ask you, like how much you understand this video. And by the way, I would also like to ask you, about after playing video, I would ask you what should be my topic. So let's watch the video together. And if you're not sure with that, ask me. In the beginning, assessment was simple. We give something a try. It was obvious when we did not succeed. And it was obvious when we did. This became known as learning. Then formal education arrived. And we invented universities and lecture halls, lesson plans, and final exams. We tested students to see if they learned anything. And then we assessed our own effectiveness as teachers through anecdotal questionnaires and subjective end of semester surveys. And this might have been enough when we were graduating high school and college students to take predictable jobs with predictable career paths. But today, educators and students are part of a rapidly changing world. 21st century learners must be able to synthesize knowledge, communicate clearly with others, and create solutions to problems that we don't even know exist. Which means students need personalized, engaging, useful feedback on meaningful work, not multiple choice exams and unexplained letter grades. So whether you're teaching accountants, engineers, artists, welders, scientists, or nurses, your students need detailed feedback on meaningful work so they can become learners, not simply graduates. Thank you very much for your participation in watching the video. So after watching the video, so, what comes to your mind? Hopefully everyone have something in your mind, and maybe you have something different way. So surely you can identify something like way, something like um, exercise and stuff like that. So by the way, so the topic today is assessment. So chapter 19, assessment by Thompson 2002, and presented by I myself, Runetra, and facilitated by Trinich. So in over here, let me share with you the content of my presentation. First, we have like introduction, key issues in assessment, case study, conclusion, and Q&A. So let's start with introduction. So the thing is that the first unit to know.
I'm so sorry,
Yeah,
Nitra.
yeah.
Yeah, so we just want to hear from facilitator first because she's gonna do facilitation. So I think she's gonna do first, right? Yeah,
Okay,
make sense.
actually, we plan, like even, actually, of course, that facilitator seem to be the first talk and should be the second talk, but here we plan to know, like
Yeah, that's okay. Just
facilitator
yeah,
would include
yeah.
everything after I have already presented. I just want to save time.
Okay, yeah. It's up to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, brother, for your reminding me. All right, so actually, my topic is about assessment. So assessment in over here in terms of people skill, focus on the essential part of process of people work, which involve relevant information as people need to gather and also need also related to like developing an overview of situations and assessment in over here also focus on um, what needs to be done to solve a problem identified. So based on Thompson 2002, introduction of assessment focus on three main specific areas like intervention. Intervention here in terms of assessment refer to like basis of action plan to include a process of intervention. And in other words, intervention and over here we could also say like the objective that intervention needs to be gathered toward a meeting. And secondly, review and evaluations in terms of assessment is considered as basic for sequence review and it also known as baseline for evaluate operations. And last one, ending, last but not least, in terms of introduction, ending, refer refer to like um, the objective that's already set, and at the end of the like assessment, this need to be evaluated and also consider the significant factors which bring to intervention to the like become to be the effective one or something like that. So introduction of the assessment in terms of people skill over here focus on three dimensions like intervention refer to like seem to be the objective sets for the start and then need to review and evaluation and ending there are some strategy to end the assessment within a criteria that, that is kind of reliable but and by the ways introduction or assessment here refer to like the plan of how the people work the process of people work. So let's go to the point. Number two, key issues and assessment. Actually, based on what we have read, kind of assessment and focus on key issues and assessment, there are over 15 aspects of key issues and assessment. So the first aspects refer to like begin with social locations. Social location here, actually when we set the assessment, need to be aware of, the social location. Social location here consists of rest. Rest here, it seems like, the question, it seems like a question that the person, the person's concern likely to be exposed to racism, which means the kind of thing which to be exposed to, you know, racism, and ethnicity refer to, you know, like a particular culture or religious need for, you know, the process that needs to be taken into account. Then organizing the assessment in terms of people still also relevant to, you know, like um, gender, we focus on the extent or in what ways that, you know, um, the sexisms relevant to the situations, and also include like language, very sensitive issue. We focus on interpreter needed, interpreter needed, and disability focus on, you know, physical or mental impairments, and then age also focus on, you know, a person age likely to make subjects with social advantages and denials of right and something like that. So these are the aspects of, you know, begin with social location in terms of these issues and assessment. And then the second aspects of the issues in assessment, we refer to, we focus on legis, legislative and policies requirement, consists of three main aspects like power, like duties and restrictions. So let's take a look at the meaning of legislative and policy requirement. This involve, you know, what people can do, what people need to do or must do, and depending on the extent, depending on, you know, the legislative on policy requirement in terms of the assessment. So take a look at the criteria of, you know, legislative and policies requirement. The first one is power. Power here refer to, you know, the empowerment to do such a certain activity, empowerment to do such a certain circumstance. And the juries usually focus on, you know, what refer to something, refer to, you know, the requirement that um, the workers that, you know, we as a human, we as the assessment organizer need to do, must do in a certain circumstance. And restrictions refer to its limitation. So I would say three aspects of legislative and policy requirement. First focus on power, refer to something, refer to the empowerment need to be done, and duties refer to, you know, like um, something that we must do, and also restriction, the restriction refer to, you know, like limitation. So take a look at the third aspects of issues and assessment, gathering information. Um, to organize an effective assessment, information needs to be gathered. So to gather the information, Thompson 2002 mentioned that first we need to take a look at the nonverbal communication, to gather the information in terms of the assessment. And then we also take a look at the power and authorities. Power and authority here it considered as interpersonal dynamic, and and it also apply in four various way, including difference, difference. The difference here uh, focus on focus on the members, focus on the families, or focus on the group of uh, that shows the unused difference. And for example, like difference here, it seems to be the instance, or seem to be like the um, reactivity, the seeking permissions from those who organize the assessment, and to be like like asking permission to do something relevant to assessment. And the lens of contribution refer to like um, the family is a group that need to be reflected in terms of individual contribution to the discussion. Balance of contribution here also consider as something need to be shared, need to be gathered in terms of how to gather the information relevant to the individual works of the process. And also inclusions here focus on the relativities powerless people. And for example, like um, some people may like constantly speaks for some things like inclusives to gather the information in terms of the assessment. And decision making also refer to the decision made in a family, a group of people, in order to gather the information. So take a look at the frozen watchfulness, another aspect of gathers information. So here frozen watchfulness, it consider as the particular individual practice of one particular person. For example, like the children has been abused by the other people, and where the children has been found by the another people. So that's kind of children is considered as a freeze, considered as a freeze. So frozen for watchfulness here in terms of gathers information. It consider as such kind of people, or such kind of children has been abused, considered as a risk, and has been watched by another people around. So in this case, also consider as gathering information in terms of assessment and developing. Development developmentally in approach in inappropriateness behavior. So in this case, um, for example, like a girl has been, sexually abused by those people. So in this case, maybe the girl have something in her mind regarding sexualization by the other people. So maybe this kind of visualization is cognitive process become to be the behavior, and it also a part of frozen watchfulness, which apply to a particular areas of particular work. So in this case, such kind of nonverbal communication, power, authority, frozen watchfulness, developmental inappropriateness, behavior, and also maximum necessary, not maximum necessaries, not maximum, sorry, minimum necessary, not maximum available. Also consider as another aspects of um, gathering information, which focus on people privacy and focus on time busting in contact and information which need to be gathered and plotted in terms of organizing assessment for the um, process of people work. So it seemed to be, it seemed to be a little bit more in terms of gathering information that people need to be gather information, anything relevant to, the assessment. So now go next to another aspects of issues in assessment. So here define problem. Actually, to organize, like a assessment for people work, problem need to be identified. Problem need to be solved. Problem need to be like examined. So in this case, for example, like for one particular people like to identify, like to organize a assessment, problem needs to be um, explored in order to see what what's going on with that, and what's in order need to see what should be the aspects in terms of the assessment for people work. And by the ways, another aspect, sorry, another aspects of this issue in assessment also focus on partnership, not personalism. Partnership, not personalism over here, focus on, working in group, not the individual. So as we know that working consists of, you know, group work. Working consists of, amounts of different decisions. So partnership play a very important role in, assisting people to work as a systematic. So without a partner, it seems to be hard for us to identify different aspects of one particular case, one particular process for our work in order to access it effectively. And actually, partnership over here also focus on ownership of the problem. You need to control the problem, need to be discovered, and also focus on a great deal of trust amongst the worker. Also focus on the working opportunity and the atmosphere or the situations occur during the working process. And six aspects. Aspects number six of issues in assessment. So assess situations, not people. So assess situations, not people over here refer to it seems like the word written that attacks attack the context, not the people, attack the problems, not people. So Within the aspects in terms of organizing assessment, the situation need to be accessed, not focus on the people at all. It is true that people need need to access the situation, but however, we not focus on the people at all in order to produce one thing effectively. So, in particular way, in designing a process for people work in designing a assessment for the people, the situation needs to be examined. Um, the next aspects things feel things feel do not so much different from the previous group. So in this case, thing refer to the cognitive aspects, cognitive situations, and fear refer to the emotional situation or emotional circumstance, and do refer to the activities need to be done during the process. So designing a designing a process for people work, organizing the assessment for the process of people work. This kind of thing feel do we refer to cognitive, emotion, and activities need to be examined in order to specify the process of people work. And the next aspects of um, issues and assessment people like consider as strength. Strength here refer to ability, the ability of concentration, on how to solve a problem. Actually, during designing, organizing a assessment, problem need to be identified, problem need to be solved, and also there are some negative impact or negative aspects emerging during that time of organizing assessment. So in this case, strengths consider as problem solving is really important for people, to be strong enough to access, the people work. And then, so significant change, significant, in this significant change. So it's errors in written words, but here focus on significant change. So over here significant change here it's involved something need to be exist. Um, the situation sometimes need to be changed, need to be flexible in terms of particular area, particular circumstance. Sometimes when we already organize, like the people work, organize the assessment for one particular case, but if we find it hard to, to access it, something needs to be flexible. And then the aspect number 9 is responding to crisis. So now over here, responding to crisis here refer to, actually during the process of organizing the assessment of people work, um, the emotional energy of crisis sometimes also emerge. So in this case, we also need to be controlled in order to constructively promote um, the people work in order to make it as an effective one. And number 10, respond to need, not demand. So in case of processing or assessing people work in terms of people skill, the need to be fulfilled, not a demand. As long as we fulfill the demand of different people, because in a particular case, different people work different things and think differently. So as long as we fulfill the demands of different people, it's hard to respond to need. But in this case, assigning, the assessment, organizing the assessment, you know, the overall need of different people need to be, um, examined, need to be put in the middle and then sort it out and do it as a to, I mean, respond the need as the um, generalization of people case. I mean, put the needs of overall people. So aspects number 11, um, confidentiality. Confidentiality is considered as, the people which able to, process the assessment within the confidential, because during assessing the people work, if kind of people have no any confidence, so maybe it is hard to achieve the outcome of the assessment of people work. And in addition, in addition, the assessment organizer or people works um, preparers also need to, identify differencing between fact and opinion. Actually, opinion is just something, different people assume this is the right thing and this is the wrong thing. But I see assessment organized in terms of people, skill in terms of people work. So fact needs to be um, illustrated in order to say how effective it is. It should be last slide but not least. The last three aspects of thesis and assessment, avoid jargon. Something I mean, actually jargon is always emerge during spoken language and also during technical procedure in terms of assessment or in terms of processing people work. In this case, you need to have like clear directions and avoid vagueness, which mean we as the assessment maker, assessment organizer, or people work uh, preparer need to be clear. It is kind of a specific area to avoid vagueness. So last but not least, set a clear objective and time scales. And so working as an assessment organizer, assessment maker, people work maker, in terms of people skill. So aim, objective, time frames to be set as a clear one. So that's all for my presentation in terms of the assessment considered as a process of people work. But here, before ending my presentation, I would like you to watch the video I played for you at the first time, and now I would like you to watch it at the second time, and maybe after watching this, I may ask some of you to, compare between what you have watched, this video, from the first time to the second time, maybe you have something similar or different. So let's watch the video again.
In the beginning, assessment was simple. We give something a try. It was obvious when we did not succeed. And it was obvious when we did. This became known as learning. Then formal education arrived. And we invented universities and lecture halls, lesson plans, and final exams. We tested students to see if they learned anything. And then we assessed our own effectiveness as teachers through anecdotal questionnaires and subjective end-of-semester surveys. And this might have been enough when we were graduating high school and college students to take predictable jobs with predictable career paths. But today, educators and students are part of a rapidly changing world. 21st century learners must be able to synthesize knowledge, communicate clearly with others, and create solutions to problems that we don't even know exist. Which means students need personalized, engaging, useful feedback on meaningful work, not multiple choice exams and unexplained letter grades. So whether you're teaching accountants, engineers, artists, welders, scientists, or nurses, your students need detailed feedback on meaningful work so they can become learners, not simply graduates.
All right, so thank you very much for your participation on watching this video. So maybe you have something in mind. Can anyone share what you assume the differences or similarities between this video when you watch it the first time or the second time? Anyone share? If not, maybe I need to go further. Actually, I just want to share this not so much different from this video. For the assessment, you watch it, when we do it the first time, maybe you have some struggle, some challenge about processing people work. And also in this video, before, like assessing the assessment for the students, maybe the kind of teachers have already applied a lot of tests before, taking the test to the real classroom. So not so much different from this video, the assessment of people work before, a top list your assessment in terms of that kind of people work. This assessment of people work needs to be pilot in order to see it's kind of whether it's reliable, whether it is acceptable, any kind of adjustment to be added and sounds like that. So to save time, here come to the end of my presentation. So facilitator, you have anything to share? You have any facilitator?
Okay, brother.
Yeah.
So between that assessment is not the best clear that you think it is not good. If you can prepare it already before you start to do anything. So it has the investment, the of time and energies requires to develop the skill and knowledge by of assessment is fully repeated by the benefit of high quality assessment board. If you have poor assessment, can be received for disaster, while good assessment board can make subsequent intervention a great deal easier. So it is the conclusion of our topic. So the brother or sister or the doctor, do you have the question for our topic? Can you ask? Yes, thank you for your attention in this topic. Yes, thank you so much.
All right. So if you have any question in terms of this, So feel free to ask and feel free to add because time seems to be short and topics seem to be far. That is why I just want to save time because as you can see, over here there are many aspects and issues in assessment. So that's why I just want to save time because there are a little bit more things. So any question?
Okay, we
Okay.
have 10 minutes to answer the question.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we start now.
Good morning, brother and sister.
We're waiting for your question and comment.
Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
So I have one question regarding your presentation. It is like a great one that everyone can listen to your presentation, especially your speech. So I have one question. Can you tell me about the particular way that we aim that? I mean, like the success assessment. You got what I mean? Like, in what way that assessment work well?
All right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
the question should be what is considered as an effective assessment, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So that you want to share first, or you want me to share first?
Brother, can you share first?
Okay. You're welcome. So actually, taking a look at the features of assessment over here seem to be different from assessment in terms of educational field. In educational field, we have like diagnostic assessment, have like formative assessment, or we have like summative assessment. So take a look at these three kinds of assessment. The question is that which assessment is considered as an effective one? To be honest, some scholars argue that there is no real effective assessment. This is based on the context. Similarly, taking a look at this kind of assessment, which refer to the process of people work, it involves gathering relevant information. Um, I would say, but based on some scholar I have read before, it is hard to say one particular assessment is considered as the effective assessment, but at least we need to have some criteria behind. So what should be the criteria behind the effective or reliable assessment? Actually, the criteria consists of the issues in assessment I have presented for you at the moment. Consists of, begin with social location, like language policy requirement, gathering information, define problems, partnership, assess situation, think, feel, do, strength, significant change. There are some things I have just presented for you at the moment is considered as the criteria for assessment, but it's not considered as an effective one. So this is just my personal assumption. Maybe I'm wrong to some extent, but I personally assume that it is hard to say one particular assessment is considered as an effective one. So what should be the criteria? It's about what I have just mentioned at the moment. So thank you for your question.
Thank you so much for your answer. Okay, so one more. Maybe I lost at the
Yeah.
moment with the word vagueness. Can you move back to the slide of
What was slide number? What number? That
avoid jargon and avoid Wagonist, I think.
Why jargon? Where's that? Let me find it.
Yeah, no, one more.
It's one, right?
Yeah, yeah. Number 14. Could you please explain me a little bit more about it?
Wagness.
Yeah,
Wagner.
yeah, yeah. And if you don't
And
mind,
jargon.
please give me an example for that as well.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Jargon and
No,
Wagner,
just
right? Two of them.
only number 14. No, only number 14.
All right. Only number
Okay.
14.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say Wagness consider as a lack of clear focus, which means, you know, during practicing the people work, one thing to consider as a particular barrier that the assessment maker have marked. Maybe they don't have any clear focus. So to be good at assessment operator, people work operator or assessors, maybe they need to have a clear focus on, a particular case being practiced. Without a clear focus, without a, particular case of, objectives, I would say, it is hard, to um, identify the what's happening during the process. For example, like you are processing one particular, assignment during your working, but your assignment seems to be a long way to do. So you need to have like a very clear access tool in order to process it very well. So during you are practicing assignment along the way you're doing, if lack focus emerge, maybe you find hard to continue your assignment very well because you may find something hard in terms of because without any focus, maybe your assignment seems to be out of the topic, seems to be different from what considered as effect of the effective assignment. So in terms of this, short and easy to understand, vagueness here refer to lack of focus. So here number 14 refer to avoid a lack of focus during practicing assessment. Yeah, and if I could not fulfill your answer, maybe someone else could, raise it up. So this is my question. And then you have any more thing to add?
No, brother, I don't have this idea. Uh, we have 1 minute left. So, Sister Jante, you have any question?
Yeah, exactly. I am clear with the book Wagonist by Brother Netra explanation. So after that, I got one more question: that how can we avoid, or maybe I just like curious about it a little bit more. Can you tell me the way how to avoid of it? About your own opinion, your own ideas toward that.
All right. So now you want to share first, or what you want me to share first?
Okay, you share,
Okay,
brother.
let me share.
It too.
Yeah, let me share. All right. Thank you very much. A very smart lady. You asked me a very interesting question. the strategy how to avoid vagueness. So my personal opinion, and actually take a look at a very big picture in terms of assessment, I would distinguish, I would, like categorize the vagueness into three main aspects, like before, during, and after. So before designing, before organizing an assessment or a process of people work, clear objective need to be set, need to be organized, need to be examined, need to be explored. So in this case, as long as we have a clear objective before organizing an assessment, maybe vagueness could not emerge. In addition, during the practice of assessment, during the process of operation as people work, maybe we need to, like be aware of what is being risen, what problems could be occur during the process, what barriers could be emerged during the process of implementing the assessment. So as long as we as the assessment operator have ability to identify the barriers, the the problems rising during the process, the weakness during the process, maybe we find it practical. We find it practical to identify a effective assessment, I would say, and maybe this kind of vagueness could also be avoided. And after the process, after conducting or implementing the assessment, to avoid the vagueness, maybe we have any like reflections, or maybe we have like any feedbacks from the other co-worker or partner to see how the assessment organized during the before, during, and after the process, consider as a practical thing. So based on the three criteria of implementing assessment of people work, I personally assume that this are the strategy that we as the assessment operator could find it easy to avoid the vagueness. That's my answer.
Thank
Okay,
you so
thank
much,
you,
brother.
brother. Thank you, brother, for your present today. So sorry because it's time up now. If you have any question with this topic, you can put it in the group. So our group will answer it for you if we can. Okay, thank you so much for your attention today. Thank you.